All right, diving into Summer of the Mariposas, starting with part 1, The Departure. And let me tell you, this is not your typical coming-of-age story.
Oh, absolutely not.
5 sisters.
Right.
Eagle Pass, Texas. Summertime? Sounds idyllic, right?
You'd think so, yeah.
Except their dad's out of the picture. And then a drowned man washes up.
Talk about setting the stage. McCall doesn't waste any time throwing us right into the thick of it, does she?
No, not at all. It's like, boom, here's this intense situation. And suddenly these sisters, they're not just dealing with, like, the usual summer boredom, you know?
Right, exactly. It's way more than just, what are we going to do today?
Exactly. They're dealing with abandonment, responsibility, and now this whole moral dilemma. Like, what do you do with a dead body?
It's a question most of us thankfully never have to answer. But for the Garza sisters, it becomes their defining moment. And the way McCall uses this to show us who they are, brilliant. Each sister, a different reaction, a different way of coping.
Okay, so walk me through this. We've got Odelia, the oldest.
Right. Trying to hold everything together, be the responsible one. But even she's got her limits.
And then there's Juanita, the reader, the dreamer.
Head always stuck in a book.
And suddenly she's the one driving this whole, well, let's be honest, slightly crazy mission.
Oh, totally. To return the body to Mexico, like it's the most natural thing in the world. And yet, when you look at their situation, the missing father, the responsibility they feel, it kind of makes sense in a twisted way.
It's like each sister embodies a different response to their dad being gone. Odelia takes charge. Juanita escapes into this, like, heroic quest.
And then you've got the twins, Velia and Delia. Can't forget them.
Oh, those two. They're hilarious. Like a dark comedy duo, you know.
Gotta have a little dark humor to survive, I guess, especially with the weight of the world on your shoulders.
And then little Peta.
The baby of the family, caught between childhood and whatever this is. You almost feel bad for her being dragged along on this bizarre adventure. Almost.
But then again, maybe this is what shapes her, you know?
Oh, absolutely. This journey, it's gonna leave a mark on all of them.
Okay, so we gotta talk about La Llorona. McCall throws her into the mix. And it's not just for the spooky factor, right?
No. This isn't the boogeyman La Llorona we've heard about. This one's different. She's looking for something more.
Atonement, almost.
Exactly. And she sees something in Odelia, don't you think? A kindred spirit.
Oh, for sure. Both of them carrying these burdens, these losses.
It adds this whole other dimension to the story, this connection to heritage, to the supernatural.
To the power of grief, too. I mean, think about it. She's a mother who lost her children. And these sisters, they've lost their father, in a way.
Loss connects them all.
And speaking of audacious moves, that border crossing, I mean, using their dad's truck with a dead body in tow.
Bold move.
The way McCall writes it, though, it's suspenseful, but it's also hilarious.
Right. Those little jabs between the sisters, even when they're facing down Border Patrol. Classic.
Like, oh yeah, officer, we're just taking our dear departed friend on a road trip. No big deal.
They just roll with it. Shows you how resourceful they've had to be growing up with their dad, always in and out of their lives.
And then that arrival in El Sacrificio. Talk about a curveball.
Expecting a somber homecoming, right?
Totally. And instead,
of all things,
music, dancing, and the Garza sisters standing there with a dead body. You gotta laugh.
It's the perfect setup for the chaos that's about to unfold. And McCall knows how to leave us hanging on, wanting more. So there they are. Picture this. Right in the middle of a quinceañera, music blasting, dresses twirling.
And a dead body. Let's not forget the dead body.
Front and center. Not exactly the, dignified return they had in mind.
Not quite. Talk about a reality check. They set out to reunite a father with his grieving family. A noble mission, right?
Right. Heroic, even.
And then, bam, turns out Gabriel, the dearly departed, wasn't exactly father of the year. More like absentee father.
More like MIA for, 15 years? Something like that, yeah. Gone, vanished. And Inez, his wife, she even had a death certificate made up.
I mean, can you blame her? Guy disappears, no word, no nothing. You'd think he was gone for good.
Exactly. Move on with your life, right? But then, in walks his daughters, with his not-so-alive body in tow. Talk about awkward.
Talk about an understatement. You could cut the tension with a knife.
Especially with Beatrice, the quinceañera girl. Remember what she said? He should have stayed gone.
Chilling, right. And you can't help but wonder, what kind of man abandons his family like that? What's the story there?
Exactly. And now the sisters are caught in the middle of it. They wanted to do the right thing, return a lost soul to his home, but maybe things aren't so black and white.
Yeah, it's like McCall saying, sometimes there are more sides to the story, more than meets the eye, right?
Definitely. And for the sisters, it's like a mirror, you know? They're dealing with their own absent father, trying to figure out their own family dynamics.
And now they're thrown into this whole other mess, with their own family secrets and resentments bubbling to the surface.
Speaking of messy, we gotta talk about La Llorona. Sure, she's looking out for them, guiding them.
But not without strings attached, right?
Exactly. It's like she's saying, I'll help you, but it'll cost you. That ear pendant, it's a gift, but a dangerous one.
It's a constant reminder that actions have consequences. Magic has a price.
And they're walking this tightrope between their own choices and this destiny that seems to be pulling them along.
This whole idea of fate, destiny, it's a big theme with McCall, isn't it?
Absolutely. Like, were they meant to find Gabriel? Was it all part of some bigger plan? Or is it just a series of random events, it makes you think?
It does. And then there's this whole other journey happening, right? The search for their grandmother, Abuelita Remedios.
Ah, Hacienda Dorada.
It's like one mystery leads to another.
And their reasons for going, they're shifting, aren't they? It started with Gabriel, returning him to his family. But now it's more about themselves, about reclaiming their heritage, understanding their roots.
And McCall, she does such a great job of putting us right there, in the moment. You know, the sights, the sounds, the smells of Mexico.
The food. Don't forget about the food. It's like you can practically taste it.
Exactly. It makes the story so much more real, so much more immersive.
And through it all, you gotta love the sisters' dynamic. They're going through all this craziness, but they still find time to tease each other, get on each other's nerves.
Like tying up PETA because she wants to call her mom.
Desperate times, desperate measures.
It's outrageous, but you gotta laugh. It's that classic sibling love-hate thing, amplified by 1,000.
And it's that bond, that love for each other that keeps them going, even when they want to kill each other.
So they did it. They actually did it. They crossed the border. They crashed a party, a quinceañera no less, with a dead body.
Yeah.
And now the music stopped. Everyone's staring. Talk about an entrance.
You got to hand it to them. They know how to make an impression. But beyond the shock, beyond the awkwardness, there's this sense of, I don't know, completion almost.
Like a breath of relief. They actually pulled it off.
Exactly. They honored their own kind of mission, flawed as it was.
Yeah.
And now they're facing the consequences, the fallout.
And maybe, just maybe, a chance to move forward. Because what's fascinating is how Inez reacts. She's not exactly thrilled. Her deadbeat husband reappears after 15 years, but she doesn't turn them away either.
She invites them in to stay, to mourn, to be a part of the family, however messy, however complicated.
It's like after all that, after that wild goose chase, there's this unexpected opening. A chance to connect, to heal old wounds, maybe even build new bridges.
And for the sisters, it's a turning point. Because Gabriel's story, his journey, it's reached its end. He's home. But theirs, it's just beginning.
Exactly. And now it's not just about bringing someone home. It's about finding their own way home, you know, to their roots, to their heritage, to their grandmother at Hacienda Dorada.
Ah, yes, Abuelita Remedios. The mysterious matriarch shrouded in rumors and legends. You can practically feel Juanita's excitement, her determination to uncover those family secrets.
And McCall, she does such a great job of bringing us along for the ride. Those vivid descriptions, the sights, the sounds, the smells, even the way the air feels different. You're right there with them, experiencing Mexico through their eyes.
It's that sensory detail that makes her writing so captivating. She doesn't just tell the story, she makes you feel it.
And that ending. It leaves you wanting more. Will they find Hacienda Dorada? What will they discover there? What role will La Llorona play in all of this?
So many questions, so much left to uncover. But that's the beauty of Summer of the Mariposas. It stays with you long after you've finished reading. It makes you think about family, about identity, about the choices we make and the paths we take.
And that's what we love about these deep dives, right? Taking the time to really explore a story, to unpack its layers, to find those hidden gems you might miss on a first read.
Absolutely. It's like having a conversation with the book itself.
And with each other. So, to all our listeners out there, keep those conversations going. What resonated with you? What questions are still swirling around in your mind? Because this is just the beginning of our journey with the Garza sisters. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time for another adventure in storytelling.